Hey guys, it's Anna here again, talking about stuff. This week I am talking with my friend Alyson Enderle. She is in Sense and Sensibility with me over at Lyric Arts. She plays Eleanor. We have a really lovely conversation about baking and performing and kind of finding what you're passionate about as a performer and dealing with a lot of the different struggles that you have, as I always feel like I talk about on this, except this time it's not just me talking at you, it's me speaking with another person, and she has some wonderful insights. So please join us, and I hope you enjoy. This is Alyson.
Hi, I'm Alyson Enderle.
So Alyson,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your journey to being where you are right now on this couch.
Right now on this couch. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, like everyone, I started doing theater when I was a baby, like I was very young. And yeah, and I just remember I locked myself in the bathroom because I was so scared to go on, and I hated putting on the makeup. And I was like, this is stupid, I hate it. But you're like, you go, when you're a kid, you do a show and you go up on stage and you say something funny and everyone claps. It's like, this is the best thing in the world. Everyone's looking at me and everyone's listening to me and no one's telling me what to do. I want to do this forever. So yeah, so I started doing theater when I was a kid, and then I did a lot of sports. I was like a big athlete for a long time, and I didn't really get back to theater until my sophomore year of high school, when I quit volleyball and basketball, and I started doing musicals and plays.
Was it like a commitment thing that brought you back?
It was exactly that. I still did track, and I had to double dip between our high school spring show and track and field, so I had to leave rehearsal and go to practice with me. Some stuff I couldn't give up, and that was okay. Yeah. And then I went to college for theater, which that seemed.
What was the decision that brought that about? That decision to go to school for theater or for any kind of arts thing is, especially when you're so involved in other things.
Yeah, and people are really confused by it because it's not monetarily beneficial.
Exactly.
There's not a direct. People don't understand the payoff. That it's not about money. It was so last minute because I had done shows and I love theater and it was so much fun, and I remember I had never felt so at home than in a theater. You create something without judgment. My dad was kind of pushing me to go do choir in college and go do piano composition because he could understand that a little bit more. My mom is a elementary school PE teacher. They both come from very, very rural backgrounds, very small towns, and they're very Minnesotan, lovely human beings. There's that huge question mark that's in between going to college for theater and Broadway or TV. There's that huge question mark of how you get there. So, oh God, what happened was, it was this high school theater festival in the cities, and my teacher was like, there's college auditions, you should, my drama teacher, who's amazing, Haley Hamilton, love you so much, she's you're great, would not be here without her. She got there my freshman year, so we kind of grew up together in high school. She was like, you should go do college auditions. I was like, oh, probably not. That sounds like such a dumb idea. And she's like, no, you should really do it.
Oh.
Okay. So then I did this college audition, and I got called back for some college, because you go do it, and then some colleges call you back to meet with you afterwards, and it was the weirdest thing. I'd met with all of them, and then there was one more on the list, is UMD. And I was like, who does theater in Duluth?
Who wants to go to Duluth?
Who wants to go to theater in Duluth? That sounds so lame. And I didn't talk to them. I walked out, and then I remember thinking oh God, what if that's the place? I should go in and talk to them. And I met
and then you were smitten.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. That's how I got to Duluth to do theater in college. It was so random, but it was awesome. I graduated this past May.
Oh,
so
you're so young.
I'm very young.
Do you feel like you learned what you had to in school?
Yeah, for program you have 7 professors, and each of them have a very different perspective on what you need to be doing right now. So you really have to pick and choose what things work for you.
Yeah,
and that's hard because sometimes you just don't know what works.
That's like, I think the hardest thing about school is like you're kind of forced to choose something, and what if that, like, I mean, for me, like, I did opera for 6 years and I loved it, and I still do opera, and I still like practice classical music, I still sing arias and everything, but that's kind of not the path that my life is taking me right now. And I think that's the hard thing about school, is like you kind of have to choose, and when you get out into the real world, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, but you get out into the real world and you don't have to choose, and then all of a sudden you feel like you have too much choice and like too much freedom, and you're like, what?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, it's like looking at the yogurt aisle, you know, and you're like, there's too much choice.
Probiotic? No probiotic.
Yeah. What do you feel like you're most like passionate about as an artist or as a performer?
I just love good storytelling. I love good storytelling. Even if the story's not very good, if you see it and it's told in a really clever way, and there's surprises, and like you learn something, like I just get so jazzed over really good storytelling.
Yeah.
I think artists' goal is to try and tell the best story possible, and every show we do it's just like okay, let's try again, like how can we make this story perfect?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like that constantly like striving for, perfection, but knowing you'll never reach it in a way. I think like that's the really interesting thing.
Yeah, well, it's like a baking mentality too. There's so many things you can control in a show, but then like if the oven is the audience,
right,
you can't control the audience. You can control the oven, and then you can just try again. You can just make that thing again. Like, we love baking in theater. It's that, like you said earlier, it's that dichotomy of striving to be perfect, but understanding that it's never possible, but not letting one overbalance the other.
Exactly.
I love that.
What do you feel like you struggle with most as a performer? Like, what do you feel like is like something mentally, most likely mentally, that like is this like hump that you need to like get over? I don't know, I've realized a lot after I graduated from school that like there were a lot of things that you just kind of like push to the wayside when you're in school, because you're like focusing on so many other things, that like once you're out in the real world you realize like you can't push it aside anymore, and you have to kind of confront it. Do you feel like there's anything like that you like?
I remember when I was in college, I really tried to have a realistic idea of what life was gonna be like for me outside of college, because I had a pretty successful college career, and I know people that like they have a really successful college career and they expect that to just happen all the time because they were favored so much, and I remember I didn't want to
fall into that trap.
Yeah, and I didn't want to expect the world to give me anything, or that I deserved anything. I've found out now that my biggest hurdle is just wanting things a little too badly, to a point that I just get tunnel vision. Like, you see postings for some shows, and it's a show that
you've always wanted to do.
You've seen, like, you saw the movie for the first time when you were 8, and you're like, I was in love with this, and I know every single line, I know all the moves, I know everything, but you still have to go audition, and there's a huge chance you're not gonna get.
Exactly.
But you want it so badly, and then that beautiful want and passion turns into this ugly little thing. And it's just like, I just want it, I want it so bad. So that's been my thing, and I think that's my biggest hurdle of like, okay, what happens when you want something so badly and then you don't get it? How do you deal with that? And I didn't know how to deal with that for a hot sec. I mean, I've encountered that in college and stuff, but that's one thing I'm nervous about.
How are you dealing with it right now?
Just keep doing the things, like, I don't know, if there's a show I'm really passionate about, I'm like, okay, well, if I really, really want it, then I should watch the movie.
I should really prepare.
I should, yeah.
And like do everything in my control to like you know, because there's so much out of your control, but if you do everything within your control to like do, you know, do the thing, at least you feel like a little bit like, I put my best foot forward and then the rest is...
Like, I did everything that I could.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. And then the rest of it's up to them. And if they don't need me, then they don't need me.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
So, we're in Sense and Sensibility together.
Oh my gosh, we are.
And it's
crazy.
opening this month on the 15th.
Oh my gosh, it is! It's crazy.
So, the story of Sense and Sensibility is like a very famous story, and like the characters of Eleanor and Marianne are very like one is sense, one is sensibility. Like they can be kind of, I guess, like stock characters in a sense, and a lot of people know the Emma Thompson and Kate Winslet like movie, and not a lot of people know the BBC version, but the BBC version is also so good.
Especially the kid who plays Fanny.
It's so good. So
He's so cute. Red hair.
But how was it like approaching the character of Eleanor, like knowing that it has so much history behind it? It can be really easy to fall into, this is what it has always been and this is what it will always be. Yeah, exactly. And like this is how the character should be played.
I've been a huge Jane Austen fan since I was 12. I've been like that. I read Pride and Prejudice when I was in the 6th grade, and I've been very, very unhealthily obsessed for a long time. But yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking, but it's absolutely, you know, letting part of your own personality shine through. I always say that there's a line graph of like, so here are all the events that happen, and then the line charts kind of how your character reacts to them. And sometimes like their line is right here, and you have completely, like, realistically, you
as a human being,
would have a completely different reaction to an event. So I try to find the events where we have the same reaction, where we would do the same thing. So then it's kind of like, okay, so in some ways, this is how we do have a shared mentality.
Yeah.
And these are the ways that we don't. So then you have to figure out, how can I understand how you would react? Because it's not just about playing that reaction, it's understanding their justification as to why they're reacting the way that they do versus the way that you would.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've always done is I create like this word web with my character's name in the middle, and then I have all these adjectives that describe them, like, so Eleanor, and you start with ones that you know. Eleanor's a sister, Eleanor's a daughter, she's a mother figure, and then you start off with like, she's responsible, she's calm, she's also very worried, and it kind of builds all these little details that make you see them as a full human being instead of seeing them as just that stock character of, like, I know
she's sensible.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is how a sensible person reacts. It's like,
exactly.
It creates those more bottom levels of a reaction that an audience doesn't really know.
I like to ask, like, what is your most embarrassing audition story, because everyone has one and they're all really silly.
Yeah. It was in college. I was at a callback. They said, all right, thank you. And I was like hopping down the stairs, or like jogging down the steps off the stage. And I hit my, I don't know why, but I rolled my ankle on the step, and I fell off the stairs. I landed and I popped up, and the director, the choreographer, and the music director were all like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I rolled my ankle all the time in volleyball. And I walked as easily as I could out of the stage, out of the auditorium. And then my friend literally had to catch me because it was just, I sprained my ankle so bad.
Oh my gosh, and you were just like trying to be like, it's cool.
I was like, I'm fine. And they knew I was hurting. I was like, oh, it's okay. I'm like, I'm so okay. I had to sit out of stage combat for like 2 weeks.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for this. This was fun. And everyone should come see our show. This has been fun. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Yay.
you. Thank you.